So, hello everyone, this is Akshay here, and welcome back to my GFG POTD streak of day 150. So, before starting the question, if you are new to this channel, please like, share, and subscribe so that we can learn, grow, maintain our streak together, right? So, let us see what the today's question is about. The today's question name is shortest XY distance in the grid asked in Google's. What are the tags here? It's dynamic programming, BFS, and algorithms. Okay, so let us read the question, what it is about, and let us think of the approaches we can code off. So given an n cross m grid of characters that consists of 0, not 0, O, X, and Y, we have to find the minimum Manhattan distance. And Manhattan distance is nothing but the differences of the ith index, right? Plus the absolute difference of the jth index, right? The row index plus the column index, and we have to take the absolute value. Okay, so we have to find the minimum distance between a x and a y. So here the given input is at n equals to 4, m equals to 4, and the output is as 1, and they have considered this x, and this y. They have also represented it as bold, right? So that means if I am able to extract all the x coordinates, or let's say all the row and column value for character x, and let's store it in a list, right? And if I'm able to extract in the same way all the row and column values for the character y, right? So we will be having two lists then. So let's say for this example, let us store that thing. So what it is gonna be that let's say we have a list x and a list y, and each entry can take up two values, right? That is the coordinate. So if the x is present at, this is first x, that is 0 comma 0. The second x is present at 0 comma 1, right? And the y is present at 0, not 0, it is present at 1 comma 2, and then it is 2 comma 0, right? And we need to find the minimum distance between the x and y. So we have the x coordinates in a list and we have the y coordinates in a list, right? So let us iterate for the size of x size into y size, right? So what can I do? I can calculate the distance from this x point to this both of the y points, and then for this x points to both of the y points, and I can find the minimum. So if I do this right in front of you, so it will be 0 minus 1 plus 0 minus 2. Since we have to take the absolute values, so it will be 1, right? And it will be 2, so it is going to give me 3. Similarly, it will give you 0 minus 2 and then 0 minus 0. You have to do addition here, so it will give you 2, right? So this thing is giving you the answer as 3, this is giving you the answer as 2. So let us calculate for the rest of it as well. So if you are considering this point 0 comma 1, so it will be like 0 minus 1 plus 1 minus 2, and we have to take the absolute value, so it will be this minus only converted into plus 1, and this again here minus only converted to plus 1, so it will be 2, right? Similarly 0 1 2 2 0, so it will be 0 minus 2 and 1 minus 0, and you have to do the addition, so it will be 3 again, right? So that means from this to this point, from 0 1 to 1 comma 2, my Manhattan distance will be 2, and this for 3. So you have four possible Manhattan distance. That is all the distance between the characters x and y, and you have to take the minimum, right? So you can clearly see that 2 is minimum, and that's the answer present here, right? So the exact brute force, the first thing coming to my mind, if I able to code this off, then definitely I'll be able to solve this question with this brute force approach, right? So what I'm gonna do is let's make uh, two lists and store the coordinates using a nested for loop of, let's say, n cross m. If it is x, then store it in x list. If it is a y, then store it in the y list. So you will be needing one n cross m for loop, and then at last you have to iterate for, let's say, for x size into y size, and you have to consider all the possibilities of distance, and then let's say we will store in the answer that answer is equals to minimum of answer comma the distance we are getting for each point, and at last we will just say return answer, right? So this was very obvious approach, I guess. So try to code this approach, try to maintain a list where each and every entry would take two parameters. That is, you can use a data structure class pair of x and y, right? So I have given you more than enough intuition as well as the logic on how to approach with the coding section as well. So pause this video here now, right? And maybe try for 7 to 8 minutes for yourself and then try to code it off. Meanwhile, I'll also do the coding, so it will be a very simple one. So that is why I'm not doing the live coding here. Let us stop the video here and then you resume it back after 7 to 8 minutes from your end. Also, before proceeding ahead with the coding section, let us analyze the time complexity as well. So definitely you're taking an n cross m time, to form the X list and Y list, and then this parallel time complexity to to find the minimum distance. So what should be your time complexity will be, that is n cross m plus, and n is nothing but 10 power 3, so it will be 10 power 3 into 10 power 3, right? And x dot size, so let's say n cross m, let's take the worst case, right? And so the total number of cells for the worst case, that is n equals to 3 and m equals to 3, it will be 10 power 6, right? Now let us assume that half of the cells were x and half of the cells were y. So if I do 10 power 6 by 2, you will get s 10 5 into 10 power 5, right? So each list size of x and y is 10 power 5 into 10 power 5. So that means your x size is nothing but 5 into 10 power 5. And if you multiply it with again with the y size, that is again 5 into 10 power 5. I hope you're getting this point. I'm doing nothing but for the total cells, I'm assuming the worst case, the total cells will be 10 power 6, and I'm assuming that half of the cells are x and half of the cells are y. So if you do it, if you multiply it, it will give you the time complexity of, let's say, 25 into 10 power 10. And if you talk in the terms of n square, then this is nothing but n square by 2, and this is nothing but m square by 2, right? So the overall time complexity of this code will be n square into m square if you ignore the constants, and the space complexity will be nothing but O of we used n and then we use m, O of O of 2n, let's say, right? O of 2n. If you ignore the constants, it will be again O of n, because we are just using a 1D list, right? So okay, so definitely we are getting a time complexity of 25 into 10 power 10 for the worst case. For the worst case. So if this case is mentioned in our test case, in this question, then definitely this problem will not get submitted. Only if and if this constraint part has been handled, right? So, but there will be an interesting part when I submit the code, right? So let me get back to you. So let us code the section and then we'll proceed on. Okay, so I have mentioned the code. We have made a class pair with take the two integers as parameters. Then I made the two array list of x and y, storing the coordinates of where the characters are x. You can see if it's x, I'm storing the coordinates in x list. If it is y, I'm storing it in y list. So that takes n cross m. And at last, I'm just iterating for each and every x, to each and every y. That requires another two nested for loops. And I'm maintaining the minimum distance, right? The x, it's just the writing in Java that you have this x list for the ith coordinate. For the ith point, you have to access its a index, sorry, a value, because each pair has two values, a and b, right? So that is, so the x list value dot a minus y list value dot a, similarly x list value minus b, and the y list value of b, and then you will get your answer, right? So if I hit the submit button, so let us see what happens, and then I will comment on it. So something went wrong, please refresh your page. So let me do that and then. So yes, the submission is running now. Let us verify. I have already verified, so I'll just wait for your input. So you can see that all the test cases have passed successfully. But I have already explained you that uh, if the time complexity goes beyond 10 power 8, then the solution should not be accepted, right? So who is in conflict now? Either the 10 power 8 logic or either the this question. So I will still go with the logic, right? I will say that maybe this particular question do not have the test case which have this, let's say, in the values in the constraint 10 power, although they have written that it will not exceed 10 power 6. You can see n comma m will not exceed 10 power, n comma m will not exceed 10 power 3, so n cross m will definitely be 10 power 6. So what gonna happen is, so n cross m will giving you 10 power 6, right? So if this case, let's say, would have not been present in the, let's say, backend server, then definitely the time complexity will not hit this thing, this time complexity will not be hitting, right? So that means this, some of these test cases which is of this range may have not been present in this question, and that is why this solution is getting submitted. But still, the time complexity will, I have already explained you, it is still n cross into m square, and if the test cases were handled carefully, this solution would not have been expected. So let us assume that that's an exceptional case, not an exceptional, uh, what to say, a mistake from inputting the test cases from the GFG side, that I would say I would go with this explanation now. Yeah. So, but still, the time complexity is n square into m square. So I hope you have this thing clear. So what next we can do? Can we optimize this thing, right? Can we come up with a method 2? So what are the repeating steps, right? Repeating steps is that we are storing x coordinates, all the possible x coordinates and all the possible y, and we are repeating it again. So can we eliminate or optimize this step? Can we do that? So what I am saying is, so let us write an example of the second test case. So you have x0 0 y and then y 0 0, right? So I'm saying that let us replace with these all these values with infinity, and if you want to replace it, then let's make a distance array, distance 2D array, right? Let's replace it with infinity or a very high value, not getting overflowed by the integer in, let's say 10 power 9. You can also replace it 10 power 9, right? So I'm replacing infinity as of now, and what I'm doing is that, and what should you do is that whenever there is a x there, right? So you have to find distance of x to y. So distance of x to x will be what? 0, right? So that means we will be iterating in this distance array using n cross m for loop, and I will say where there is an x, update it to 0. I will say update it to 0, right? And where there is not an x, right? Where there is not x. So let me explain you one thing more. So for I and j, let's say you can move in 4 directions, right? So when I will be this point, where the original characters is saying as 0, so I will compare in the all 4 direction, right? That if there is an x present, right, then definitely this integer would have been updated from infinity to some lower value, right? So I will check in all 4 directions, but here the 2 directions is out of range and the third direction is already considered as infinity. So the only possible I can compare with my its left value, and I will compare it is like that infinity. Either I can take this infinity value, or I have to measure a distance from x, right? So that means I will take the distance from its previous cell, right? Previous cell, and I will do +1 because it's a 1 unit difference, right? So this infinity will be updated to 1. Similarly, when I will be at this point, it says the character is 0. I will again check in all 4 directions, right? And I will update it with the minimum value. Since this left is out of range, the and right and what bottom is infinity, so the only minimum comparison will be viable from this point, and again it will be updated. It will be updated as it will be compared as infinity comma 0 plus 1, right? I will take this value from its previous cell and I will just do +1 because it's 1 unit distance, right? So this thing will be updated as 1. Similarly, this infinity, this and this is the infinity, so there will be no feasible to compare it with, right? So it will be compared with above and then what's a left. So the above 0 will give it the weightage as 1, and it will give you as weightage as 1. How it is giving you weightage as 1? That is 0 plus 1 comma, and this left one is 1 plus 1, right? So what is the minimum, right? 1 comma 2, the minimum is 1, so let us update this thing as 1, right? Similarly, if you update again, so it will be 2 from the above, 2 from the left, so the minimum will be again 2. And then let me update now very quickly. So for this range, if you do in the all 4 directions, the left and bottom and right will not be feasible because left and bottom out of range, and the right will be itself pointing to infinity. So because of this one, it will be updated as 2. And you can, and since this infinity will also updated as from the top, it will give you 1 plus 1, that is 2, and from the left it will give you 2 plus 1 3, and the minimum is 2, so it will be updated as 2. Similarly, since left and top is both 2, so the comparison will be 3 comma 3, and it gives you 3, and the right and bottom is still out of range, right? So what this matrix, this updated matrix is indicating you that, let us come to any point. So I am at this point, right? What is it is this is saying is that this character is the, it's the distance between this character and x, the minimum distance between this character and x is 2. Let us verify that. So I am at this point, I am saying that the distance between this and x is, the minimum distance is 2. You can see that you can jump 1 unit here, and then you can do jump one unit here, so it is give you 2. You may have also reached this another x via other way also. You have gone this direction and this direction, but that would have given you more number of jumps, right? So that is how this matrix is taking care of the things, right? So what would be the code? That first of all, you have to make a distance array. This will be your first step of distance array of n cross m, right? And let me write it n cross m. The next step would be that you have to iterate for n cross m, right? And if it is x, then replace it with 0, right? If the distance of ij is x, then replace it with 0. Else you need to move in all four directions. And how you can code the all four directions things? So what should be the if, right? So let me explain you that thing as well. So for I comma j, if you move in the left hand direction, so it will be, the coordinates will change as it is in the same row, that is I, but you have moved one column back, so it will be j minus 1. And similarly for top, it will be you have moved one row above, so it will be I minus 1 with the same column. If you move right, then it will be the same row but column ahead. It is the below row, that is I plus 1, and the same column. So what should be the constraint that you would be comparing for each and every indexes? So what you can say, so you're subtracting I with 1, so you must check that if I minus 1 is greater than equals to 0, and here you must check that if j plus 1 is less than m, that is the column, and here you must check that I plus 1 is less than n, so that it do not go out of range, right? And here you must check that j minus 1, the changes are made in j minus 1, right? So j minus 1 should be greater than equals to 0, right? So I have showed you the pseudocode. So this is the first step, this is the second step. Write this if condition, and this else condition will again contain four if statements, four into if statements to traverse in the top, left, right, and bottom, right? And in each if, so let me write one if statement for you, and then I will ask you to code ahead. So I will just say, if I am writing for this thing for top, so if I minus 1 is greater than equals to 0, what I will say, that the distance of, I'm representing distance as d, distance of I and j will be nothing but the minimum of d of ij, comma d of I minus 1 j plus 1, because we have moved one distance ahead, right? Similarly, you have to write for if statement like this. Okay, so let us complete that code, and then we will come back. So I have mentioned those steps, and for the users which are viewing this video till this point, that is 17 minutes, I'll request you to bear with me for more 10 minutes. Switch this video into 2x, right? Because I speak at a much lower pace, you can understand it at 2x, right? So bear with me for 10 more minutes, and you will definitely learn something new, right? Okay, so we have done the first step, right? And what we have to do now, that we have updated for each and every cell, I've updated the minimum distance from that cell to the x point, right? But the question says that you need to find the minimum distance from the cell which is having y, right? So I will again run a n cross m loop, and I will just for the cell which is having the y, I will take the distance value from there, and I will maintain the minimum value of it, right? So let me do that step as well for you, and I hope you are able to pseudo code all these steps in your code editor which I just explained you. Then it's well and good, else you can always refer, right? So for the next time when it comes again, you should be able to click it. Okay, so let me code that step as well, that to maintain the minimum distance just for the yth character and not for the o character as well, right? So let me do that. Yes, so I have mentioned that step as well, right? So I have declared here is as 10 power 9. You can declare it as integer dot max value as well. Let me do that for you. So I have done that as well. I have replaced the distance with integer dot max value minus 1. No, you may argue with me that Bhaiya, why I have replaced with you minus 1. So I'm saying that you can replace with any larger value. You can use 10 power 9, 10 power 8 also. But why minus 1 I have used? Because the integer dot max value, as the name suggests, that that's the maximum value an integer can hold, right? And what are the operations that we are doing while we were comparing these all four if statement? That we were doing plus 1 at each and every stage, right? So if you do integer dot max value plus 1, it will go beyond the int range, the range of the integer, right? So I just explained you, since I have used integer dot max value, then I have to do minus 1 as well, because when the plus 1 comes, then minus 1 plus 1s get encountered, and the overflow should not happen, right? So that's not a very big point. You can use any larger value, either 10 power 8, 10 power 9, anything, right? Okay, so that's the case. Okay, so but one more thing I want to, I can see here that still my code will fail for one such case. So what is that case is, let me Let me figure that out as well. Let me explain you in a more different manner maybe. Okay, so what is that test case is? So let's say we have a test case like this. Let's say we have a test case y 0 0, not 0, not 0 0 o o, and then o o o, and then o x o. That is the x is present in the lower part and not in the above part from which we are starting our iteration, right? So if we start our iteration, right? So it was like infinity, infinity, infinity. Everything was infinity previously, infinity and infinity. This x was also infinity. Whenever we encountered x, then we were placing it with 0, right? So if we run our existing code, then what will happen, that at this point it will check for the all the 4 points, right? And it will see that the infinity comma infinity plus 1, what's the minimum, it will infinity, so it will be updated with infinity. Similarly, this point is representing o character, it will again be updated with infinity, again o. So at this point, till this point, everything will still remain infinity. Whenever, so now you have this x, you will encounter this position at x, so you will say that update this infinity to 0, 0, the distance 0, because the distance from x to x is 0, right? And for the next cell, now you will see that this character is representing 0, so now it will again see for the all 4 directions and it will compare the minimum value. So it is out of range, this is not feasible, that is infinity is there, this is also out of range, so it will compare the infinity, the distance itself it is having, and then the 0 plus 1, so it will be updated to 1 now, right? So the matrix you are seeing, if you run this existing code, the matrix you are seeing is that all the above two rows are infinity and the last row is having infinity, 0 and 1. But should that be the answer? I can clearly see that the distance between x and y, the minimum distance will be that you can go this and then go up and then you can move it. So the minimum distance I can see is 3, right? Right. Yes, it would be 3. If you move diagonal wise, then you can reach in 2 jumps, but we do not have to find the jumps, we have to find the coordinate differences, right? And the diagonal wise differences, if you calculate it, it will give you the weightage of 2. And in the same row, in the same column, if you just jump 1, it will give you the weightage 1, it will again give you the 3 distance, right? So the minimum will be 3, and that should be the expected output as well from the question. So what are we doing wrong here? What are we doing wrong here? So that means that I'm getting an intuition, I'm getting maybe a walkthrough, maybe a workaround, that the same thing that we did from the topmost point, right? The same exact thing we have to do from the bottommost point, right? If we do that thing, and in this code as well, in this code, not the, we have to start from the beginning, but we have to do that second step in this existing matrix, right? So if we do that, then what will happen, right? So I'll be starting from, so let's say my let me write the matrix again, the updated matrix. So it is infinity, 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 0 and 1, right? So I will start at this point. Let me use a different color at this point, right? And this point is representing a character o, so it will again move in all 4 directions, right? And it will take out the minimum value, right? So the right and bottom is out of range, the infinity will give you again infinity, right? And this thing which is 0, so from here it will give you a weightage of 1, right? But you are having already 1 at this point, so the comparison will be made between 1 and 1, and this will remain same, right? Now my pointer will be at this point, and this is x, it will be still updated to 0, right? And now you can see the magic happening, right? Now this cell is 0 and it will be updated using these 4 directions. And since above in infinity it's not feasible to compare, the top and left, the bottom and left is also out of range, so only comparison will be done from this side, and then it will be compared from infinity comma 0 plus 1, and it will be updated as 1, right? Similarly, I'll be at this point now, and it will be updated as all the above values are infinity, so you just have to take from the below, so it will be updated as 2. Similarly, this point will be updated, a weightage from this 0 will be 1, and the this 2, it will be 3, right? So it will be updated as 1. And you can verify as well that this point, the minimum distance between this point and x is 1, right? That's what is representing as well. So the now we are at this point, and the right and bottom both is 1, so we'll be representing the weightage as 2, so let us update it as 2. Similarly, at this point, it will be updated as 3. Due to this 2, the weightage will be 3. Now at this point, the weightage will be from 3, it will be 4, from 1, it will be 2, the minimum will be 2, right? So at this point now, both the values in the right and in the what bottom is 2, so the weightage will be 3. And I have also compared with the top and left, don't forget that, because it's still out of bounds, so we are not getting answer from there, so it is 3 now. And now you have to run in this updated matrix, in this step 2 of updated matrix, that what is the, if the character is y at a particular cell, then what is the minimum. You keep the track of the minimum, right? So, and you can clearly see that there is only one cell which is having y, and this should be your answer, right? And this is your answer. You can verify it from your output and expected output. That is custom input test case you have. So let me verify that for you as well, and then we'll proceed ahead. Okay, so I have run that same test case, and you can see that is giving you my output. The current output is giving me my infinity value, right? And that's what I have showed you. You will get an infinity, but that's not we want. The expected output here is 3, right? So that means you have to run the same thing from the bottommost also, to see that if x is, now why it is happening, you can realize it as well, that if x is not present in the above part, then definitely all the above part will be updated to the infinity according to this code, right? And if the x is present, on the contrary, if the x is present in the lowest part, then we have to start from there as well, right? That is, we need this exact thing, but starting from the bottom, right? So let us add this step as well. So it was starting from I equals to 0 and j equals to 0. So now we'll start from I equals to n minus 1 and j equals to m minus 1. And if statement and else statement will be as it is. So let me write those for loop, and then you also try to write those for loop. It's very simple, no need of live coding again here, and I will stop the video, and you also try, and I will code this and come back to you. So you can clearly see this, that I have started next for loop that is starting from the bottom most, and I have the same task I have to do, right? So let us just copy this same code which I have written above and paste it here, right? Okay, so let us compile and run again now, and then we will hit a submit button. And let us visualize that. So the expected and output matches. So we have undone all the test cases. What would be the time complexity now? Space complexity will be n cross m, since we're using a distance array, right? And the space complexity will be n cross m. Then again, there's a parallel of n cross m. So again, is a parallel n cross m. So 4 times n cross m. So, and if we ignore the constant, the overall time complexity will be n cross m. That is 10 power 6, less than 10 power 8. So either the 10 power 6 test case would also have been there, it would definitely pass, right? So you can see now the problem is successfully completed. But if you are the human that मतलब curiosity खत्म ही नहीं होती आपकी, है ना, मुझे और भी कुछ जाना, I still want to know something that can be optimized in here. So I have come to an observation as well. So I have written minus minus here, right, in these two lines, and I have written minus minus here as well. So maybe I'll give you an opportunity, and you must do it. Pause this video now and try to think that why I have written this thing. Maybe you can do something with these two lines or not, or you can optimize it even further or not. I have given you a hint also. Try thinking maybe for 4 to 5 minutes and then resume again. So the optimization is here. I will not say that the time is optimized, but you can say that the thinking is optimized. You can even eliminate the code more. So for the step 1, how we were filling the matrix, I was filling the matrix in this line of approach, and then I was coming to the second row, and then I was filling to this line of approach, right? So let's say you are at this point, at the halfway of the second row, right? And these row you have not filled all the rest rows, so definitely this will also be infinity present there, right? So, and you can always see that comparing with the infinity will not give you an answer, right? So that means the only feasible comparison that you are doing, that you will be getting an answer, will be from the top and from the left. From the right you will not get an answer, and from the bottom also you will not get an answer, right? So that means for the step 1, if you just check for the top condition and the left condition, then the things will work fine, right? Similarly for the step 2, how I was filling from the last row, from the last column, and I was moving like this. Similarly, I was coming to the second row and I was moving at this. Suppose I am at this point, I'm doing the comparison for this cell. The rest of the cells would have been infinity, right? And from the infinity, will not get an answer, that is for sure, right? And we are comparing in all 4 directions, This will not give you any answer, and this will also not give you any answer, right? So if we just compared for this right cell and the bottom cell, right, then the things should work fine, right? We have an explanation here, right? Things should work fine. So let me eliminate these steps. For step one, let me just allow the steps top and left, and for step two, let me just allow the steps right and bottom, and we will see for ourselves that it works or not. So for the step one, I said we just need top and left, so just let comment down this step. And for step two, we need right and bottom, right? So let me comment down these lines, that is this one and this one. Let us compile and run again, or I should have said let us hit the submit button. But yeah, let us verify the compilation and then we will hit the submit button again. So there is a runtime error, so there is definitely I have done something wrong. So let me see to that. Okay, I can see that I have not commented the line, like not in a good way. I have just ये line छूट गई थी यार. Line number 56 was remained. So let us compile and run again. So the video is now 31 minutes and counting, but yes, the curiosity never dies. So let us hit the submit button now again and we will see for ourselves, right? So definitely it should work through. So great guys. So if you have been present with me this long, so I like sincerely and strongly felt that you may have gotten a better understanding about this problem. That is all pros and cons, and this question is asked in Google as well. So that is why there are several optimization possible in this question, right? Maybe, not sure. Okay, so we should end this video now. And how should we end this? So let me give you the C++ code as well. And I'm getting a request that the person is asking to run the exact code and not to just show me. So let me run the C++ code as well. Okay, let me run it. So just for you guys requested, I'm running the C++ code as well. So it has ran successfully and nothing is changed here, yeah. So all the things remain same for the first for loop, and then we are checking for top and left, we are checking for bottom and right. We are commenting the steps, which is I already explained you, right? And int max minus one, I explained you. We are again promising n cross m and comparing the minimum value, right? So that is it for today's video, right? I have showed you both, maybe three approaches, two approaches and one optimized thinking. And yes, let us finish this video here. And one more thing, yeah, that definitely I'm not getting enough time to make video on my 450 DSA series. So I'm just thinking of maybe stop the streak of my GFG POTD, and I can denote devote all my time, all my remaining time to make the 450 solution. But then again, I'm thinking that solving POTD is very necessary. So popping one question out of the ocean of DSA, and if you solve it, uh, you are not getting a hint that which and all topic it will be coming from the next day, and your mindset is preparing. So I think that's a very good way to tackle the problems once you are done with DSA, right? So I'm just thinking maybe you also suggest me that for suggestions, what do you guys need more, the GFG PUTD solution or the DSA series? And if you guys need both, then I have to manage my time even more. It's already been 2 a.m. in the morning, and yes, maybe I have to be awake till 4 a.m. to make the 450 series as well. So yeah, comment down what are your suggestions, and then I will see according to the poll what is happening in the comments, and then we will proceed ahead. So ठीक है, अब वीडियो एंड करते हैं यार. So don't crap about that, video लॉन्ग हो जाता है. समझना है तो if you want to get a clear understanding, then sometimes the video is long. So let's not chit chat about more, and then let's end this video. Let's meet tomorrow in the GFG Pure streak of what day? Day 151. Okay, so day 150 is completed. Congratulations to every one of you. It wouldn't have been possible without for all of your support as well. So keep learning, keep growing. Bye bye, and take care.